Here are my highlights on a Cleon Skousen lecture, The Naked Communist. This is not a review of the book, it's just a highlights from a short lecture on the subject. Communism is a very persuasive false doctrine. Our problem in the fight for freedom is that we continue to get distracted from our goal. The criminal mind is very egotistic. It thinks that it does not have to work like the rest of the people. The criminal mind thinks that someone who invites him to dinner with nice things is stupid enough to invite a criminal to dinner, so he must not have got his wealth by working, but by being lucky, so he does not deserve it, so he calculates how to get back into the house to steal those things, thinking that the owner does not deserve them, thinking that he is smarter than the owner and has the right to the stuff. The Tsar of Russia was overthrown by Russia's best people. It was not overthrown by the communists. The Russians had a democracy when the communists took over. His book shows the view of the communists in the favorable light they painted in and then debunks it. It was the first to break down what the communists were doing in one place so lay people could quickly get the information. Stalin took complete credit for starting World War II. Stalin and Hitler made a pact which allowed Hitler to wage war in the West without interference. Russia's plan was to let Europe beat each other up, then come in after they were exhausted to take over everything easily. After Europe was weak, except Britain, they just needed the last two great capitalist powers, Japan and USA. So Russia made a pact with Japan, saying they wouldn't stop each other in war efforts. Gangsters survive by making deals with other gangsters, knowing they will be double-crossed, but with a feeling they can do the double-crossing before the other person will. This is what Hitler did to Stalin. He attacked Russia. When Germany began to beat Russia, we said, "Russia, let's be friends," ignoring the fact that Russia started the war. If it weren't for our help, Russia would have fallen. They refused to thank the U.S. Alger Hiss, who wrote the Charter of the United Nations, and it was based on the Russian Constitution of Communism. They know the Americans are too trusting. They put in some of the stuff we wouldn't want to hear a little ways into it. 1948, Shanghai Shek's China went down. He was trying to make a capitalist China, but was told over and over that he couldn't defend himself, and so China fell to Russia. MacArthur wasn't allowed to attack the enemy in Korea. December to April, he wasn't allowed to do anything. He had to watch the slaughter. He told of this and was fired for telling that his hands were tied. When they know we are willing to fight, they will return our prisoners, etc. Carry a big gun and you won't have to use it. Freedom, human dignity, protection of innocent people, these are all more important than peace. This is what the Founding Fathers knew. We must be willing to fight for it or we will lose it. Criminals calculate their odds and take chances. If your gun is big enough, they'll fear death and won't try to harm you. If it's a small gun, they say, I'll chance it. I'll chance 40 years in jail. With only 7% of the Earth's population in the United States, the United States has made half of the world's wealth. It hasn't even taken us that long, yet people call for capitalism to end. That's the end of my highlights on that short lecture. And you can hear the lecture or get these notes. And of course the notes are always a summary of some important points, not covering everything.